Welcome everybody to show 8 of Whine and Cheese. Spot, has he settled down?
He has. Last week we had a little bit of trouble with Spot, and he's been having some therapy with our friend Yo, and he's learned the error of his ways, and he's going to sit nicely now and just cooperate and
From now on, you
stop
reckon he'll
pooing
be...
in the studio.
Oh dear.
It wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty. Lucky it rained a bit and over the last week. And,
We just washed it out the back door.
and the weather, Phil,
Man.
the weather over the last week.
It's like we had the Bureau of Meteorology put out a warning saying this was going to be the worst storm in 10 years, and it was pretty close.
It was pretty close, wasn't it? Last Sunday, Monday. Actually, it was louder early Monday morning at my place than it was the rest of the time. I don't know what was going on outside. I didn't want to go and have a look, really, but...
It wasn't too bad at my place, but it seemed to happen in pockets
Yeah.
around Perth.
Yeah, my pockets were full of it.
But I know it was really bad down in the southwest, Margaret River.
Oh, yes.
Where Nikki and Jamie live.
Canal Rocks, wasn't it? That
Canal
bridge out
Rocks,
there.
all of that. We've got a little bit of footage. So the first bit that you're going to see is the Bureau's animation of a low coming down, a low coming up from Antarctica, the meeting and all the hell that went loose, and you'll see the weather area where it more affected the state more than anything. And you'll also see Cottesloe Beach, which has no beach anymore. The water came right in.
The last time I remember that, Phil,
I've never
was
seen that.
Cyclone Alby.
Yeah, right.
Myself and two of my mates, for some reason, I mean, we were probably 18 at the time, decided we were going to go fishing that night. And good old Jeff and Greg. And we got to Floriat Beach, and the, surf club, the sand had been eaten away underneath it. So we pulled into the car park and went, well, we're not going to go fishing here. Then we decided to go down to City Beach and fish off the groin.
Oh.
Yeah, painful. And no groin. Gone.
Wow.
Car park, half gone.
Well,
then
and
we
in
ended up,
Fremantle, did you see what happened in Fremantle?
No.
They put a new seawall in, and it went through it and in under the car park, and half the car park sank.
Yeah, well, that's what happened at Floriat and City Beach in Cyclone Alby.
Wow.
So we spent the rest of the night at the pub. We ditched it. And then the next day, we're like, why did we even want to go fishing that night? I mean, there wouldn't be any fish around, would there, on a night like that anyway?
Well, that's true.
Well, unless they were in the car park.
Well, my brother, who lives in Mundaring, was sitting in his shed, his man cave, and God almighty bang crash, and a big branch from probably 40 metres up from a tree came down, smashed his shed to bits, came in, this is where he was sitting, came in this close to him. If it was half a metre, we'd be planning a funeral.
Oh.
It was bad.
And that was Sunday night, was it? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was.
And of course,
pretty bad.
it's Friday now, and guess what? It's raining again.
It really hasn't really stopped all week.
No.
And where was the bridge that was
Canal
destroyed?
Rocks. Canal Rocks,
which is down near Bunbury.
Yelling up. Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty munted.
Yeah.
It was pretty munted.
And you can see the radar as well in that package of what's actually happening right now as well.
Yeah, that's good. So Wiggle, how does he like the weather?
It's getting cold. It was 5 degrees the other night.
Oh.
And he's usually a sleek, as you know, you've seen him, sleek, beautiful looking bird. But when it gets this cold, he puffs himself up and he looks 5 times bigger than what he actually is.
Oh, right.
And it's really quite funny because then when it warms up, he just brings his feathers back in again.
Oh, so it's insulation.
It is.
Oh, well,
The hot air,
terrific.
well, his body air sort of puffs up and stays within the feathers, and it stops him freezing to death.
Well, I just had an update as well from Uncle Chris. The blue tits have gone.
They've gone.
They've flown the nest.
Well,
There was
what
only 2
happened?
left in the end.
They all got something happened
Yeah,
to them,
something
but
happened.
we don't know.
We don't know.
Because he doesn't record with that camera.
No, I don't think he does. I think it's just to view it like a remote monitor
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, he said this afternoon that they've flown the coop.
That was quick.
That was good. That was good. So I think they were practicing during the week.
Well, at least 2 or 3 of them got away.
Yeah, yeah. So that,
Which is
so that's
probably
good.
why they had so many babies to begin with, because there's obviously quite a high mortality rate.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was unusual, the number that they had. But yeah, so hopefully we'll get an update from him next week. I don't know if they come back at all, whether they've gone forever now. Come there, have a couple of babies and run off. You know?
Just
Interesting.
sounds like an average suburban motel.
You know, this weather that we have, you're right, it is a bit chilly at night. So guess what? I'm going out to buy some new pyjamas. Yeah, I haven't worn pyjamas for 27 years. But have a look. I'm trying to decide which ones to get.
Okay.
So I've been going through this to see which ones I'd like.
Oh my God, check this out.
Send in your suggestions as to which ones I should get.
Don't encourage him.
别动着，我在远方牵挂着这一刻，听呀歌，风吹眼泪湿润了，天冷了，别动着，我在远方祝福着，你是否想着我，春暖花开来回头，你是我今生的寄托，我就是你心中那首歌，今生我认定你一个，越爱越深不寂寞，为你明信片里记载着，哎呦我去，你说这样记个名儿，哎呀，哎呀呀呀呀呀呀呀呀呀呀呀
That was funny. I actually like the Donald Trump one. Needs a bit of a slapping at the moment, doesn't he, with his Twitter rantings of... that guy's done something like 590,000 tweets during his time, and now he's got the shits with Twitter. He's going to do an executive order to try and stop them.
Good luck with that, I reckon.
Yeah, it's like a little boy not getting his own way. But let's not go into politics. Stuff that has been happening, especially with a lot of our friends in the music industry, is everything stopped. Their whole career, everything just stopped. Them playing in venues, and they were left out of all of the packages the government offered to help people make ends meet. And it was like, are our musicians and our artists not important enough?
Well, there's a lot of issues, isn't there, Phil? I mean, there's a couple of really great people involved in the events industry, and there's on Facebook, you can find it, there's the Events Industry Association, and Tony Williamson is actually the president of it, and he put out a release 2 weeks ago now, but you know, he made some really good points, and I don't think anything has really changed since then as far as the events and the music industry are concerned. Everybody's still waiting. There have been a few things change, and we'll get to that, but there's still no certainty for an awful lot of people. And
you were saying as well that, I mean, I don't know this industry very well, but you were saying how bands used to get, was it called a guarantee?
They'd get a retainer, or in
And
the
now
bigger shows,
clubs
you'd get
are saying no.
yeah, you'd get a retainer,
like,
or you'd get some kind of guarantee, or so much, so that you could plan an event. And clubs on the East Coast in particular, you know, some of the bigger ones like the RSL clubs, they are now going, well, you take the risk, you can have the door charge, whatever, minus fees and stuff like that. But if you've got to take 8 or 9 people up the coast and put on a show, how do you fund that? You know, so
It's hardly worth your while.
It's going to take some while for this. One of the
I
points
mean, gone
that-
are the days when you guys would go from Albany to Broome within 2 days to do gigs, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you even bother in this day and age?
Yeah. I think while there is some hope, there's still a lot of things that need to be sorted out. And in the meantime, a lot of people haven't had JobKeeper because they're self-employed. They might have got the job seeker allowance, but they might have had to fight for that. And it certainly, in most cases, wouldn't replace the majority of their income. But like Tony points out, he said the events industry was the first industry to shut down, and that was Friday, March 13th. It's probably going to be one of the last industries that gets back to some kind of
course.
normality.
Yeah.
And that could be months, many, many months. Yes, some venues
You're
are
not going to get
open.
600 people in a venue
You won't be
for
allowed to.
quite a while.
So the economics of everything is going to be really hard to see how it goes. And, you know, as yet, while there are some dates where they can open with restricted crowds, many of the venues may still look at it and go, well, we'll open for food and meals and things like that, but we can't afford to put a show on. We can't afford to put a band in. Some of the smaller places may have duos or solo acts or something like that, but full shows, it still may be some time before they're economically viable.
And they'd want to make sure their meals are pretty good
Yeah.
to get
yeah.
people in if that's
Yeah.
all they're offering.
Yeah. So I'd recommend that a lot of people, that if you're involved in any kind of events, you go and have a look at Events Industry Association
What's
on
the
Facebook.
website?
Well, they're on
Facebook?
Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. Or eia.com.au would be I think there's a separate website there as well. But go and have a look at that. Following up from that, you know, earlier today they have brought in the phase 3 of easing of restrictions and things like that, and that's effective from tomorrow week. So from Saturday, June the 6th.
Which is crazy because it's WA Day Monday.
Yeah,
It's a long weekend in Western
I think
Australia.
the problem is that you wouldn't have time to organise staff and things like that. You can't find out the
That's
day
true.
before and organise that kind of thing. It's just not practical at all.
True.
And they've obviously had to, you know, they brought it forward from what they said they were going to do, but they've still had to meet kind of middle ground. So according to the government release now, one of the critical things is that they've reduced the capacity rule so that it's now one person every 2 square metres as opposed to one every 4 square metres.
Okay.
So that enables them to legally get more people in a venue. And then the indoor and outdoor venues with multiple spaces or divided spaces can have up to 300 people. That's
Wow.
100 people per area. So a place like the Camfield, big place near Optus, they theoretically could have 300 people in there because they can divide it into 3 separate zones, which is a good thing.
They were saying that with some of the bigger RSL clubs and leagues clubs in on the East Coast, that some of them are absolutely huge. And,
Oh, yeah.
And so they have the
Yeah.
space to do this.
Yeah.
But Perth, being a big country town, city,
Yeah.
the venues aren't always that big.
No, and they may have separate areas anyway, like a restaurant outside of the main room. So you might have a band in, I'm thinking like the Charles Hotel, you might have the band in one room, you can only put 100 people in there, and then the restaurants are in the other part of the building, so you could have theoretically 100 in each of those. It doesn't really help the economics of putting in a band in the room. The other thing that I know you'll love, Beauty therapy and care services.
Oh,
Back to that.
God
so you
for
can get
that.
your roots done.
oh, I
You
was
can
thinking
get
of
your
my hair
eyebrows
transplant.
Done. You can your eyebrows trimmed.
I do my own now. Yeah, I found this. I had to. I was looking like my dad, and so I got this $15 Remington beard shaver that does eyebrows.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's
good.
good.
Good idea.
Yeah,
It saves having Wiggle do it for you. I mean, like it
he
gets-
would. He
he's
would
a-
sit on my shoulder and pluck
He's a little plucker.
a duck.
Playgrounds, skate parks, outdoor gym equipment.
Oh, okay.
Go for it. So tomorrow when we go for our walk, no problem.
When are gyms opening? Because we
well,
really
now
need
what
to
they've said is
get
gyms
back.
with staff and fitness classes. Yep, they're back from the 6th.
Okay.
Contact sports and training. So our boxing classes, we can go back to that.
Excellent. I missed those.
Galleries, museums, zoos, theatres, cinemas, concert venues, arcades and amusement parks.
Okay.
So theoretically they're right. Restaurants, cafes, bars, pubs, and can now serve alcohol without a meal.
Cool. So
Which
we
is
can
terrific.
Just pop in for
So,
a drink. Yeah. So things are
that's something
starting
positive,
to get
isn't it?
back to
I guess
normal.
really the only thing that I see is, do people want to go out? There's been a massive change in people's psyche. So some people may still be very happy to stay at home. B, can they afford to go out? Because a lot of people have lost a lot of money over the last few months and may not be in a position to do it, or their priorities might be somewhere else. So we'll see how it goes. And some of the venues may still look at it and go, well, 100 people in the room, it's still not economical because we've got to put more staff on. We've got to have security on the doors. We've got to do all these kind of things. And it
A
may
friend of
just not
mine
be
owns
economical.
a pub in the hills, and she was saying that, she can't afford on a Sunday to pay a 15-year-old dishwasher $50 an hour when the restaurant's only taken 25.
Yeah.
It's just not business viable.
Hopefully now, with these easings, the economy starts its merry way back up the hill. Let's see how
And
it goes.
what
you know.
about our dance lessons? Are they
Well,
back?
there's a couple of places that I think we should go and
Great.
practice our tango.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll have to go and polish my shoes.
I need to iron my tights and my leotard.
So
Anyway.
yeah. So things are looking up, Phil.
Good.
Good stuff, isn't it? Bit like this next thing we've got happening here.
Check this out.
先生，麻烦帮我拿一下。好的，好的。老公，我害怕。紧张别紧张，没事。我害怕，这个太粗了。
Well, that was interesting, wasn't it?
Made my eyes water. So who we got next?
Next, we have our best mate, Al Pithers, has joined us again.
All the way from Germany?
No, they won't let him in Germany at the moment because of the lockdown and everything. And so he's stuck here.
Still?
And so, he hasn't been locked in the studio. We've actually let him go home from last week.
Right.
But he's come back, silly man, and he's got a really good song for us again. And Al, take it away.
Take it away, Al.
Okay, my hair all right? Yeah, it's looking gorgeous. Okay. Here we go. Well, I can hear a heartbeat from 1,000 miles. Hear the heavens opening every time that woman smiles. Oh man, I come home to her, swear I belong. I run into her like a river strong. She gives me love, 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 crazy love, man. Love, 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 crazy love. She's got a fine sense of humor when I'm feeling low down. I come home to her when the sun goes down. She takes away my troubles, she takes away my grief, takes away my heartache in the night like a thief. She gives me love, 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 crazy love. Love, 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 crazy love. I need her in the daytime, I need her in the night. Throw my arms all around her, kiss and hug and hold that girl tight, man. Oh yeah, alright. When I'm returning from so far away, she gives me sweet, sweet loving to brighten up my day. She makes me righteous, she makes me whole. That girl makes me mellow, right down to my soul. She gives me love, 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 crazy love. Love, love, love. She gives me crazy love, man. Love, love, love. She gives me crazy love. Love, love, love. She gives me crazy love. In the morning, in the kitchen, on the table, crazy love.
Everybody's here. Bit of a prank on our browser Russ.
Yep. Oh, look at that.
Basically, ideas. We're plumbing his whole house with beer. And this guy's going to come home and it's going to get awesome.
See on it?
I don't think he's dusted under there for months.
Camera.
Little camera in there. Got a shoe cam down here.
Yeah, just a pretty simple setup.
Whoa, it's like cold beer too, look.
He's going butter. No way.
Oh my gosh. Got no fresh water anywhere.
Here comes the old boys.
He's filming it all on his phone.
It actually tastes really good. Did it come?
Yeah, that's it.
Here it goes.
There's like 10 kegs of beer under this mug. Party of mine, boys!
Now you're talking. I think you're talking, yes you are. So happy birthday, Al.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
Yeah. So how are you enjoying that wine and cheese show, the cheese and wine show?
Oh, it's not bad, mate. Yeah, it's pretty good actually. The money's good.
Yeah, for my liking, it's too much cheese and not enough wine.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
You know, I just think the guys are too nice.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
And Mark with his bedroom voice and his bloody Betty Davis eyes, and Phil,
well, he's got a bit of mongrel, but he's more like a puppy that's fucking discovered something interesting behind his balls and can't wait to get a lick at it, So, I remember 40-something years ago we were at the movies and it was my favourite movie. It was a historical documentary drama thing. And Night of the Festering Arseholes.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I know, you're with me.
I didn't like it, Jim.
I know. And I asked you what you didn't like about it, and you said...
I just don't like movies with scripts. I like there to be, like a room, buckets of blood, simple,
That's right, script, no script.
No script, yeah.
Buckets of blood.
Buckets of blood, it's a fact.
Now, that's been the blueprint for my life for the last 40 years.
Is that right, mate?
Yeah, and thanks for fucking up my life for me, mate.
Oh, you're welcome, mate.
But I thought, there must be an outlet. There must be an outlet on that show for 4 minutes or so of people just spilling their guts because, I've got some gripes. I do have gripes.
I'm sure you have, Jim.
And I mean, you know where gripes comes from, don't you?
Yeah, is that where the baby gets it?
No.
Oh.
Way back in the ancient days when nutrition and, people were on long trips of discovery in boats and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And the food was shit and, the sanitary conditions were shit. Well, people used to get stomach complaints and they'd start swelling up until, you look out on the deck and there's all these big bellies there and people will be going off like bloody popcorn in a frying pan.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, like bullshit. And so, not to mention bowels.
Were they voiding?
They were voiding.
Involuntarily?
Well, yeah.
With a soft spluttering?
Well, mostly with a fierce spluttering motion.
Oh, okay.
Eventually you run out of shit.
Oh, fuck, you're making me hungry, mate.
I know. Well, I'm making myself hungry too. So, I think there's later on, gripe became known as something, like shit on your chest, basically, because you have a gripe with someone, you've got a problem with them,
Yeah.
And so, I reckon, have this show called The Gripe. You have a white title coming in, and it'll go, The Gripe,
Yep.
and maybe the sound of someone exploding.
I love it.
And then the sound of angels singing.
Beautiful.
Or maybe not.
Oh, no, I think that's going to work, mate.
Listen, next time we're on TV, can you make sure you do your hair first?
Sorry, Jim.
Okay. Thank you. Can't reach the fucking thing.
Oh, my supposed to be doing 60.
Well, thanks, Jim Rossiter, I think, for that segment. And you know what, Phil? I reckon we should do that as a weekly thing.
I think so, totally. Jim Rossiter, his weekly gripe.
Jim's gripe. Jim's
on Whine
weekly
and
gripe.
Cheese. Whine and Cheese weekly gripe.
I think I'd be a bit scared.
You never know what you're going to get from Jim.
Should we do it? We'll do it. Start next week?
Yeah, we'll let him. That'll be good. We'd
look
be
forward.
honoured. We'd be honoured.
I look forward to seeing that next week. Thanks to Al Pithers. Thanks to all the contributors this week.
Yeah.
And I hope Wiggle has a good weekend.
Oh, he will. And it's WA Day on Monday, so everybody enjoy being West Australian. And be kind to each other, ring each other up, talk to each other. Go now and give each other a hug, because you're allowed to now.
Are you? Really?
Said so. The government said we can.
Cheers to Gary Dunn, who phoned me this week.
Did he?
And
did he have trousers on?
As far as I know, he was just about to have his dinner, so he would have spilled it in his lap if he hadn't. And we'd never hear the end of that.
No.
Cheers to him. Cheers to Al Simpson. I take it we'll be seeing them in the not too distant future.
Yeah,
hopefully.
let's hope so. Hey, we'll get the profile happening again.
Oh, we need to do that. Cheers, folks.
Thanks, guys. Take care. See ya. Have a good week.
See ya.